Oseo.
Oseo.
Good, that's a Cherokee greeting, and wave the great feather. Here we are, just was it 2 or 3 days past the celebration the Americans have for Thanksgiving. In Cherokee, we say Ulehalestudi, meaning the giving of gratitude. So on that day, Claudia and I and Tim, we went way out to what they call the east of San Diego, there in the desert mountains, to attend a ceremony that we often attend for year after year. That was conducted by Amadeo Rea. He's a former professor at San Diego University. And what it's really about was giving gratitude to the earth. And he, gives us some cornmeal around our shoulder to say, to be somebody who looks after the earth. So that's what I'm following here. And that one main person that has a lot to do with the earth is the ants. The ants, in Cherokee, and people. So that's what I'm really bringing out a lot of here in my talk today. My talk today is going to be about a place there in Nevada around Pyramid Lake. And I've spent a lot of time there and so forth. And then I want to say, following this, just yesterday, late yesterday, I received a package in the mail like that. And what was in the package was this beautiful medallion. And this was made by Mary Dodd, a Paiute weaver that's there in Wadsworth, Nevada, which is south of Pyramid Lake there. And this was a gift from Vivian Olds, who lives there, and that she also has a yurt for a gallery that also has my paintings in it. And it's a work of art, and what it is, it's the pyramid of Pyramid Lake here. It's the finest beadwork I've ever seen. So I'm really proud to show this off, because I'm sure she's going to be watching, this film for that. And since all of my theme here, my talk is actually located there in Pyramid Lake there. And so you can go over here and look at my large painting up here. And this is going to be titled, The Owls and the Ant, basically. And it actually has a location. Next to Pyramid Lake, there is another lake that's now dry. There's no water in it. But the two were side by side. There's kind of like some little mountains in between them. And the one that's here in my theme is called Winnemucca. Winnemucca actually means one moccasin, standing alongside the blue shoe of Pyramid Lake. And this actual location there is a very ancient place, very, very ancient place, like that. The very, very first time that Vivian and I went up there, we went to this place. I've made an actual picture of what it resembles, of this huge rock that comes out from the hill, from the side of the hill, that has this deep cave underneath of it. And the very first time that we come up there, it was being guarded by this very large great horned owl. And that's pretty much what set everything off for us ever since then. So all of this, continued to develop. And on the same side, across from that, but on the same side of the lake, you go down a ways and come over here. I called this the temple, but its actual ancient name is the site on which stands our great-grandmother's abode. And it has many petroglyphs that are very, very large and very, very deeply incised into the rock there. I would think it was the biggest petroglyphs I've ever seen anywhere. So these really go together here. And this here in my painting, you see this shaped hill there with the ant on it. This is an actual place. South of this, go exactly south a ways, and you go to a little settlement there, Wadsworth. And Vivian lives in Wadsworth. And directly west of her house, where you can directly look out, and there is this very large hill by itself. I've made it more, cone-shaped, but basically that is what the hill is. You see the ant on top. So this in the story is the hill that looks like an ant hill. But actually the ancient name is the Hill of Succulents. And its name is going to be, Shinan Machlach Tur Shinan Air, meaning the boom tower of Shinnik. I call that ant Shinnik, and it's an old man owl and old woman owl. And the story, it's a Navajo story, but it's also referred to as the cave underneath the big rock here. So that's the way that it's starting, and then afterwards I'll expand it. Here are the other things I have going along with it. So the story is actually going to start out with old man owl there in the cave underneath the big rock, and he's saying to old woman owl, well, I'm going to go hunting. I'm going to go hunting down there by the hill that looks like an ant hill. So there he went flying down there like an owl could do there until he comes to that locale, and he's flying around there, maybe looking for something to catch and take home like that. And then he's hearing something like a baby crying. Wah, wah, something that goes like that, so he goes up on top of this hill, and there's like a hole, like a rabbit's burrow. He hears that baby crying sound is coming out of that rabbit burrow. So he reaches in there, reaches around and gets a hold of something, and begins to pull and pull and pull until out he pulls this little baby, this little critter, like that, and he lays it on the ground. Wow, where did you come from anyway? Whose child are you anyway? And we call him Shinnig, is what we're calling him. And he said, well, I'll take you home to old woman owl, like that. So he picks up the Shinnig and he flies back to the cave underneath the big rock, and there he brings in Shinnig, and grandmother owl, she's saying, well, where did you find that anyway? What were you going to do with that anyway? That's the way she talks. And he says, well, you're going to take care of it, like you take care of a child, a baby, like that. So okay, she says. So they take him in, and then it goes, they find little ways to dress him and so forth. It goes on like that. And old man owl, he even makes some little bow and arrow. The Shinnig's growing pretty quickly, quick enough to make him a little bow and arrow set so he could do some hunting. And so it's going along like that. And they have a pot on the stove, we might say, that's always, cooking, blah, 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 like that. And whenever the old man owl catches something, he comes home and puts it in the pot. It's interesting, just a little phase, in that, because I've learned, the ancient people we call the Anasazi in the Pueblos, basically that's what they did. It's not a good practice for humans to do, however, to keep a boiling or simmering pot that you keep throwing food in without ever cleaning that out. But these were owls, so I guess it didn't hurt them any. So like that. So anyway, that's the scene that we're thinking of here. And so one day, old man Owl, he has caught a snake that he's dispatched, and he comes in and he drops that snake into this simmering pot of stew, maybe we would say, like that. And then he goes out, and then Shinnig, he saw that. He saw him put that snake in, so he wondered how that tasted. Obviously, he's kind of, sampled things that old man Owl brought in and put in a pot. So this time he was going to sample, what does that snake, taste like? So he went up there and somehow took a sip, of that snake's stew, like that. And as soon as he did, of course, you get it, he wakes up. So suddenly that he's awakened like that. And so when the old man Owl comes back into the cave, he can see that. He can see that little Shinnig, something's happened, and he's woke up. We can put it simply that way. And he says, "Oh, now it's time for me to take you back to the place where I found you." So he picks up that Shinnig and he flies all the way back there to that hill, to the hill, looks like the ant hill. He goes there and he sets the Shinnig down, and he's telling him like that, "Here's the place, where I found you. This is the place where actually you have come from. And somewhere out there exists your mother. Somewhere there exists your father. Somewhere there exists your aunt, and somewhere there exists your uncle. They're out there. Now, what you do with it is your own affair." And he flew off, leaving me there, wondering, what did he mean by that somewhere there exists my mother and my father, and somewhere there exists my aunt and my uncle. He flew off, leaving me there with this place where he said he found me. And thinking of that, I just got sleepy and laid down to sleep in that place where old man Owl had found me. So that's basically the rendering of this story here. The story actually has further sequences of what he does when he wakes up and so forth, but that goes beyond what I have set up here. So that's the story of old man Owl and the ant and so forth in this ancient place. Now, speaking of this ancient place, if you can see this right up here that I've put on my picture here. East of this place, if you go east of this place, there is a sort of a modern town. It's called Fallon. And near Fallon there are some caves. And these caves, there's more than one, but one in particular has yielded an ancient body of an ancient person, like we would say, like a mummy, but not like the ones in Egypt. But it's called the Spirit Cave Man cave. That's what it is. I've been in that cave, since it was found. I've been in it, and also we found remnants of Thule weavings. The body that was found in there was actually in the 1940s. Two anthropologists, an archaeologist couple, had found this and had taken it back to the museum in Carson City, where it had been. Now, as far as what we call the people who came over here from Europe and found other people living here, mostly I think as old as they thought people would be here, was maybe a couple thousand years old, like that. But one of the anthropologists there at the museum somehow wanted to make some test of some kind. Her name was Amy Dancing, and as a result of this, it turned out that these human remains, we'll refer to them, was very, very, very old. And further testing and all of that, it turned out that this, we call him the Spirit Caveman, is 10,000 years old. And with that burial in this cave, it's very dry. The area is very, very dry, and that's how something could last so long. And there, in the museum in Carson City, they have, you know, kind of things that refer to this, and one of them is this, what I have replicated up here. It's made of wood, and, you know, I saw it, you know, in person, you know, exactly. I've had a lot to do with this whole matter. I've replicated it, of course, out of cardboard, and it's always referred to as an owl. It's the shape of an owl that has, you know, vertical red stripes, and it was reportedly stuck in the ground next to the mummy. So that's where that comes from, and that Amy Dancing was the one who kind of initiated this. Don Toohey, another archaeologist that was involved in this. And then finally, Sharon Long, an artist that I knew at the time, and she was a forensic artist, and she also did the forensic replica of the head of this person. So I got to see it, you know, right up close, you know, in her studio, of what this person actually looked at when he was alive 10,000 years ago. So all that gives us some clue as to the antiquity or ancient age of these people. As to referring to this site down here and the site of our great-grandmother's abode, these petroglyphs here, the author and archaeologist, anthropologist, you know, who has published books. What's her name?
Oh, I can't. Maria Gamboudas.
Maria Gamboudas. Sorry for that. Claudia took some photos of the petroglyphs here and sent them to Maria Gamboudas, and she wrote back a letter. We still have it, you know, that she recognized these things. She was a specialist in archaeology of Eastern Europe, and that's what she saw. She says that these are symbols of the ancient culture of the Great Mother in Eastern Europe 7,000 or 8,000 years ago. So that gives, you know, further antiquity and relation to everything here. So if we come right down below my picture, you see I have a little display here. So we can have things that are actually more palpable. The two owls and the ant here. So making a lot about the ant in my talk here. And if you can come up from that, you know, come over here and look at, this is my painting. And how this painting came about was actually Claudia and I and Gina Dickinson were taking a hike in the hills that's well east of San Diego. I think they call it something like Horse Thief Canyon Trail, I think it was. And we're walking up the hill after walking a while. And Gina stops, you know, midway in the pathway, and she's looking down at something with amazement. I mean, you know, the whole look of her and the gesture of her arms, she's seeing something that's amazing her, like that. And I'm a little bit ahead, and I'm turning around to see, you know, why she's not catching up. And she's just really standing there in this state of amazement. And somehow I learned from her that she is having an extraordinary experience with an ant on the ground. And that really expanded in her, so much so thereafter, ever after, that was her familiar. Her animal familiar was this ant. And so I did this painting from that, and that's what we're looking at here. This is the way that I have kind of translated what I experienced of what her amazement was about it and what it meant to her. And this painting was in her house for a long time thereafter. And if you're looking at that, I use the Navajo name, you know, Biki de shit, lat and volosa shit, asha, like that, meaning red ant, shine woman, red ant shine woman, is the way that I'm rendering this here, to give it imagination to something very extraordinary that could come from an experience, encounter with an ant. Here. So you can take all of that in and go over here right alongside of it here. In Mexico, ancient Mexico, the culture hero of ancient Mexico is known as Quetzalcoatl. And what I've replicated here of Quetzalcoatl from an ancient Aztec codex, that this is the appearance of Quetzalcoatl as the black ant, Voloshini, there on his body. That's actually his symbol. That's how I know who it is. You see the green feather like that, like that. And what it's about is that he made his way into the domain of the red ants. And see, if you look down here, here are red ants. That they come back up here. And in the domain of the red ants, somehow they are the ones that had the custody of some seeds, but mainly the seed for maize, corn. And so he, from the red ant people, obtained the seed for corn, for maize that he's holding there. And then he brought that back to the ancient Mexican people for them to cultivate. This is quite amazing. Last week I was presenting, you know, the turkey, the Navajo turkey, put it that way, and from that turkey came the corn seed among other seeds. Although it's given in the Navajo that the corn has existed from primordial times. It is itself life. And you know, it lives, that's the way you'd say it in Navajo here. And while we're looking at that, I'm going to read this Antway chant. I have to use the light here. Again, the Cherokee name is the Ani Awi. I love that name for the ant people. To the ancient ones who ascended from the middle of the world below, whose homes cover the earth, yellow ant, blue ant, red ant, white ant. Yuhue, 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 yuhue. To you whose homes are covered with mountain tops, yellow, blue, red, and white. Give us your hearts so that this earth will be well watered. This is my song. I make the ancient road that my song may pass over it. Mothers of good thoughts, yellow ant woman of the north, blue ant woman of the west, red ant woman of the east. Your medicine is precious to us, as it is to our hearts, is precious to us. Come to us. May your thoughts come to us. Ho, 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 ho. So that was certainly a way to express the importance, the veneration, and the relationship of people to the ants. And there are other chant ways and so forth that I know of here. But that one will bring us into this focus for the ant. And a little bit now we're going to go for the owl, so we can Well, let me go all the way over there. Go all the way over there, and there you have my drawing. This is my drawing, but what I call the ant warrior. I've done quite a few drawings of these kind of people. In this case, the ant warrior here. So I'd like to show that. And there's the owl. He's an owl from Mexico down below him. So that's a good setting right there. Okay, then you can come up here to this little arrangement that I have here. I'm going to mention at this time, Friday was called Native American Heritage Day. Actually, the whole month of November, had that honor. But Friday was the actual day for that. And on the KPBS, wonderfully, they did a piece on a ancient Native American site in southern Ohio. I don't remember the name of the site precisely, other than referring to the mound culture, and the larger culture that ensconced it is called, by the modern term, Hopewell, by the Hopewell culture. And it had just been granted the title of World Heritage Site. So people were very, very elated by that. And the people who see themselves coming from it know themselves as the Shawnee. And so there was people of the Shawnee speaking of their ancestry relating to that site here. So in view of that, and it was really very moving to hear of all of this, I put together this. Now the town, in other words, Hopewell is a very large area that has a certain cultural unity of many villages. North America, if you step back and you just take the waterways, the Mississippi River, it looks like this is the trunk of a tree. And then you have the branches going out. So it's looks like a big oak tree without the leaves, if you get that idea. And so people lived all along these waterways, rivers, streams, creeks, whatever, all like that. So that's what I'm saying. There's a cultural unity of many settlements or villages. And one of those is Cahokia, that's in Illinois. And one person that we know that has been there was Deanna Beachley in Las Vegas, who probably will be watching my talk. So I'm very, very happy to mention her. And the Carlos Castaneda's teachings of Don Juan, I discern that those teachings on shamanism have stemmed also from the ancient Cahokia that had, what we call, kind of codified or systematized shamanism, kind of put it that way, and that's recognizable in the teachings of Don Juan here. So back to what I've portrayed here, I'll call this is an owl shaman of Cahokia, and I have the owl feathers backing him up. And here in front of him, this is a pipe from there that's called a Hopewell pipe. They're very rare, but I picked this one because it has an owl on it, and they're called platform pipes. They're very short. I don't know how they make them, and they have some figure on top of them, the way this one is right here. So whenever I can, to bring some authentic, especially ancient artifact, to my talks. So we have that one. And if you come over here, I have another one. This is a stone pipe, maybe soapstone, of the owl. It's got wings and beak and eyes like that. So this is also, in other words, these are like 2,000 or more years old, is what they are. And I'm very proud to have them. My Cherokee mentor, if I could put it that way, was also a pipe maker, so I did have some inheritance with this. So with all of that, I'm going to, did I get everything?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
I was going to end with a Paiute song. I should say, you know, behind me, if you can pick it up, here's my rendering of the pyramid of Pyramid Lake here, to go with what I started with this Pyramid Lake medallion here. So I'll end with a little song from Paiute song from Pyramid Lake. Monday he na, Monday he na, Monday he na, Billy Pondy so Monday he na, Monday he na, Monday he na, Monday he na, Billy Pondy so Monday he na, ha 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 ha. Hey, thank you.